Hey, liberal fruitcakes! Inflation! Let's talk about it! I've seen many videos coming from the left today about inflation, and that over the past 3 weeks, it's gone up! Oh no, what are we gonna do? And blaming it on the fault of Trump. And I find great irony about it, because it's coming from the same people who said Biden inherited a bad economy from Trump. So let's be real, you need to be consistent. Because if your statement is true, that Biden inherited a bad economy from Trump and COVID, then this inflation over the past 3 weeks is from the Biden administration. Or you at least got to be consistent and say that that's not true. That inflation is not that quick of a response, especially over 3 weeks. Because if bad things came from Trump's first presidency into Biden's presidency, then the good things that came from Biden's presidency came from Trump's presidency. Or you're not going to be that consistent. So let's look at causes of inflation, so we're all on the same page. 1. Demand inflation. This is when the price of goods and services increase because of demand. Demand that outpaces the supply. This can happen when people have more expendable money, or when the government artificially pumps money into the economy. Number 2. Cost. This is when the price for goods or services increase because they are more expensive to import. Now I know we talked about tariffs, but you can't blame the past 3 weeks of inflation on those tariffs, because they're on a 30-day pause. So you got to move past that one. Number 3, government policies. This is different than government spending. We'll get to that one later. This type of inflation happens when the government pumps too much money into the economy. Money that doesn't actually exist lowers the value of the money and therefore increases the value of product, or at least the spending power of that money. Or it can be when the government keeps interest rates too low for too long. And so it can create fire sales on certain things, like houses, or people borrowing too much money that doesn't actually exist. Our government's really good at doing that one. Number 4, supply chains. This one goes back to supply and demand. Inflation can happen when natural disasters happen. You know, like the California forest fires, or the Florida hurricane. This can break the supply chain and therefore increases the cost of goods and services. Number 5, wage increases. Now I know you're going to say, oh, wages cannot increase inflation. Yes, it can. Because when companies increase wages, it affects their profit margins. And good businesses' sole goal is to keep their profit margin as high as possible. This is why those companies can stay around for a long time and create more jobs. But when you increase wages, they don't want it to affect their bottom line. And so generally they'll pass that on to the consumer, which creates inflation. Number 6. Government spending. We love this one. When the government overspends and creates large deficits, it creates inflation. This is why I'm baffled that a single person is against Doge, because it shows your blatant hypocrisy. You want inflation to come down, you want prices to come down, or maybe you don't, I don't know you. But then you complain that an entity is auditing our government to make sure they're not wastefully spending our money, which causes inflation. So all of you guys need to stop talking. Or at least be consistent, because you're not. Because right now there's only one party trying to solve inflation. And it's not the Democratic Party. They just want to keep spending your money. Money that we don't have as a country on wasteful garbage. So it's time for you guys to start reflecting. Because you're going to keep losing if you don't. Have a good day!